So good afternoon to everybody. Low level of energy, come on, come on. Good afternoon. Very good. So some of you might be wondering why the hell am I having a mobile on my hand? Just to control the presentation, okay. Today, the purpose of today's session is to become very, very interactive. So we have some slides here that we would like to show to you and some videos that would hopefully present to you what is our vision about the future and what we want to do as Microsoft in the world and Microsoft in Portugal. I will be doing this presentation together with Catarina, which some of you probably know. She's a colleague of yours, and we thought that it would be interesting for her to be here and share with you also her experience of working at Microsoft. So without further delays, and with the promise that this is going to be an interactive session, means that you guys can and girls can ask questions, and hopefully I will be able to answer them. Let's see. So a little bit of who I am. 43 years old. It's actually, I was a little bit depressed coming down the stairs because I just realized that I finished my graduation in 20 years ago. And that's a little bit of a depressing mood. You see, 20 years is a lot of time. So it seems like it was yesterday, but it's good to come back again to this house and to this home and to this great university. I'm sure that 20 years from now, you all feel the same. I also did an MBA in Católica. I'm married. I have one child, one girl, a baby boy coming soon in May. My passion is around sports and around traveling, around knowing the world. My dream is to dream positive. I always dream. I'm a dreamer. And I always think positive. People that know me very, very well know that I don't like this word impossible. For me, it's something that don't resonate with me. I like to do things that are very, very difficult or very close to impossible. That gives me an additional drive. So that's a little bit of myself. In terms of my work experience, I started my career when I finished the graduation here in Técnico. I started my career, at that time it was called TLP, it was Telefones Lisbon and Porto, long time ago. Then it merged with Telecom Portugal and gave birth to what is known today as Portugal Telecom Group. I worked there approximately 6 years, until 98. And in the last times of my career, I worked in Brazil for the acquisition of Vivo, that was already sold to Telefónica. And by that time, I liked a lot the work that I was doing internationally, so I decided to move career into consulting. I joined A.T. Kearney. I spent 9 years in A.T. Kearney, and I reached, I would say, the highest point of the career, which is the partner level. 2 years after, so in 2008, I decided to move again career and to move to the industry again. And I joined Vodafone. I joined Vodafone as a CFO of Vodafone Portugal. I stayed there for 2.5 years, more or less. And then I decided that it would be interesting also to get again into the international flavor and move into Vodafone Group. So I moved to London and I lived there with my family for 2.5 years at Vodafone Group. At that time, it was being created what was called the Vodafone Group Commercial. And probably you will be wondering what the hell is Vodafone Group Commercial. It's very simple. You divide Vodafone into 3 pieces. One is technology, one is administrative stuff, like finance, HR, all these great things, and then all the rest is commercial. So it's very simple. So I was the CFO of Vodafone Group Commercial for the entire world. And I was there for 2.5 years again. And then I was challenged by Microsoft to come back to Portugal and to join Microsoft as a country manager, general manager of Portugal. I must confess that at the beginning I was not very excited with the idea, but then as I moved on in the interviews, I became more and more excited. And hopefully today you will understand a little bit why. Why is this new Microsoft more exciting than the old Microsoft? Hopefully I will share my excitement with you and you'll get excited too. So, to start with, just a small video of what do we do and why do we exist.
What can it do?
When I lost my eyesight, I thought that my painting days were over.
How far can we go?
By using your hands, you can actually control your X-ray.
Technology has the power to unite us.
Hang on, honey. Hang on.
There he is. You see him?
I can see him.
It inspires us. Technology has taken us places we've only dreamed.
Now I can do whatever I want.
It gives hope to the hopeless.
So your device is on. Can you hear me talking?
And it has given voice to the voiceless.
That's our mission, empowering us all. And we live it quite hard. Everything that we do is to empower us all, be it citizens of the world, be it enterprises, be it NGOs across the world. This is what we do. And it gives us a lot of pleasure to really help people to become more empowered, more productive. And how do we do that? Well, we see 4 major areas where we currently see it as a trend and that we are deeply engaged on to make it a success in these 4 areas. The first one is cloud. And cloud, I think that by now you probably already know, everything is going to be on the cloud, somewhere in the sky. Actually, it's not exactly on the sky, but the concept is this. There's a big network that is connecting everything and everyone, and that will hold everyone's information. That's the idea behind. Of course, all the estimates indicate that everything is going to migrate there. I think that I can share with you, that's our strategy, to migrate every single service, every single information of Microsoft into the cloud. Microsoft today is one of the biggest players, worldwide players in the cloud. You'll see that in a moment in a video. But just to share with you some highlights, we have a worldwide network that is connecting data centers all over the world. We are just plotting here the data center that we have in Ireland and also in Netherlands. And just for you to understand how fast this is evolving, we have set up a data center in Ireland. We are now in the 4th data center in Ireland. The last one was built 2 years ago, and we have already started the build-up of a new data center, and we have discontinued the previous one. Why? Because technology is evolving at such a high pace that the savings that you can do by more efficiency in terms of the servers, in terms of the electricity consumption, in terms of the technology to use and to cool down all these spaces using very basic techniques, actually from our ancients, from centuries ago, of cooling down the air, just because we are evolving in these technologies, some of them linked to computers, some of them not so much, basically are more than compensating shutting down previous data centers and opening up new data centers. In terms of the connection, the network that connects all these networks, all these data centers, last generation, very strong on compliance, very strong on security. The security measures are very tight in terms of access, physical access, in terms of the software and all the engineers that are working there to avoid hackers to penetrate into our data centers, and in terms of, as I said, in terms of savings of energy and building costs. We are investing on an annual basis more than $3 billion per year in our data centers, in our infrastructure. So it's a lot of money. And you will see here a short video of how do we see cloud evolving.
It starts as a basic need. And through invention and innovation, it evolves into something larger than ourselves. A single light in a dark room becomes a daily miracle we don't think twice about. It's in our nature, it seems, to find a better way, a more efficient way, to free ourselves, and then forget. The more powerful the transformation, the more we take it for granted. We're already living in the dawn of the next great evolution. And we will shrug at the breadth of what lies behind the simple push of a button. Where weeks and months were once spent working bit by bit, it only takes Windows Azure's automated platform seconds. This place called the cloud, this place we all share, it doesn't exist in the sky. It lives in state-of-the-art Microsoft data centers around the world. Our world is evolving exponentially. In front of us, endless possibilities. Behind us, our ingenuity turned instantly ordinary. Innovation leads to opportunities, demanding more innovation, demanding we look forward, demanding we connect what came before with what lies ahead. This is our calling. This is what we do.
And in the cloud, our vision is very simple. Whilst we believe that everything will go into the cloud, today, in today's world, in today's enterprise world, most of the companies are still have their data centers and their data in the premises. So what we have built is a system where you can actually manage the data center in your premises and in the cloud seamlessly. And this is the way you manage your data center in your own company is exactly the same as the way you manage when you transition this into the cloud. So when you want to, for instance, when you want to light up an application and you need a server, you provision that server exactly the same way. You do it on your own data center, exactly the same way as you do it with Windows Azure. And it's not only for Microsoft. It supports other platforms as well. It supports open source, it supports Linux, and it supports Oracle databases. It will soon support other applications. ERP is well known that I'm not supposed to disclose now, but you will find out. So this is our vision around the cloud. It's an hybrid world that ultimately everything will be in the cloud. In between, we have to manage this transition. So what are the other trends? Social, you know everything about social. You are the social generation. So Facebook, I'm not going to teach you anything else on here. What is our vision on that? Well, our vision on that is that this is going to evolve also, and it's evolving already, into a more collaborative world on the enterprises. Enterprises, our employees are collaborating. You no longer create something alone. You collaborate with all your colleagues. And this collaboration is powered by our enterprise social tools. We have acquired a company which is called Yammer, which is now fully integrated into the Microsoft family, integrated into CRM, into Office 365, into collaboration tools and communication tools like Link, that enables you to take the best of this enterprise social world, not only for your own employees, but also connecting with your customers. Let me give you a very simple example. At Microsoft, for instance, we wanted to launch a service, and we were having some discussions internally on how we should brand that service. What should be the name of the service, or what should be the brand claim of that service. And we launched a very simple quiz internally at 7 p.m., 7 in the afternoon, to our employees. And we launched it on Yammer, and immediately, 2 hours later, we had every single employee voting, and we decided to take the majority of the brand claim that won in that simple quiz that we launched. It's a very simple example of how you can leverage these enterprise social tools to be much more faster, much more decisive when you take your decisions, not only internally, but also when you connect to your customers. The other big trend is around mobile. Mobile, you see, I'm holding a mobile here on my hand. I brought my Surface, so I no longer have a PC any longer. I just used my tablet. And I work with it actually as it was my PC. What is the advantage of that? Actually, is that I no longer carry paper. Most of you probably don't print anymore. We don't print anymore in our company. And that's a big transformation. And that means that whenever we want to connect internationally, we no longer have conference rooms. Why do we have video conference rooms? We avoid a lot of traveling. We can always connect to everybody in the world, and that's very powerful. And we can always connect not only with our tablets, with our PCs, but also with our mobile. That's why we have invested so much now into the mobility angle with the acquisition of Nokia, which is very soon to come alive. So how do we see this? Well, actually, we see this in a world where we can provide information every place, in every device, and we can provide it with full security and very, very fast. What does it mean? It means that if you bundle it with the cloud, that means that, for instance, when you go on holidays, you don't carry your PC. You just go into a hotel that has a PC, you log in, and all of a sudden, all the information that you have in your company becomes accessible. All the apps that you have becomes accessible. If the apps were paid for, you have access to the same information that you had in your PC at home. That's the concept behind, that's what we are empowering. Well, the other big trend is around big data. And big data is really a big transformation. The way we look at data is being completely changed. We used to look at data in a very structured way. We structured the world of data. We were limiting the power, the boundaries of data to what we know, to what is in our computers or in our devices, and sometimes enlarging it to the internet. Well, the way we see the world going forward is that this big data concept of empowering data not only in our devices but also on the internet, in the social networks, in the cloud, everything becomes connected. And we are trying to connect everything. How? Giving you an example. For instance, in Excel today, when you make a search, every search that you make, you can search the data in the cloud, in the internet, in the social networks, and in your devices. And you can bring those databases directly into Excel, and you can work on it directly. And that's the power of connecting all this data. Now, bringing knowledge from this data is bringing unstructured data and analyzing patterns. For instance, in my device, I have an app that analyzes the status of all our services across the world. I have all the status of all our services in my mobile, in an app. And if the service is down, I can immediately connect to the social networks, and it brings what is the sentiment that the social networks are having about that service. Means, what are the customers saying about our services on our social networks. I can see if the sentiment is positive or negative. I can drill down and see actually what were the quotes, what were the posts that were made by each individual everywhere in the world. Or I can zoom in into Portugal, or I can zoom in into my customers. That's power. That's powerful. And that's what we are trying to build. So this is a little bit of how we see the new Microsoft. Again, very big bet on cloud, very big bet on mobility, enterprise social, and big data. This is how we see the world. For what? To bring and to develop and to build a better world. The next video that you will see is what Microsoft Portugal has been doing in Portugal to develop this better world. I hope you enjoy it. We are very proud on it. So thank you very much. I would like now to call Katarina on stage and open up for Q&A. Thank you.
So now we have some time for questions if you want to ask anything. I'm finishing my master's here in software and computer science. And I'm also academic program manager at Microsoft Portugal. If you have anything to ask me or João Couto, you are more than welcome.
So who wants to be the first? Yep.
People tend to be stressed about, mainly companies don't want their data out there. But I think for small to medium companies, they should leverage cloud, even at the small level. But they always distress it at some level. So what do you think Microsoft and other companies cloud-based should do to improve this status that is keeping them from migrating, leveraging the power of cloud?
Okay, look, it's a very, very good question. And honestly, I think that we, as an industry, Microsoft included, have done a lousy job on it. I think that I always like to build this image that someone that was together with me in an event, so it's not my quote, it belongs to someone else, but I found it very good. It's the image of the safe locker. Where do we put our money? Do we prefer to have the money in our bed, in our safe locker, at home, or in a bank? Well, most of us, I would assume, probably would prefer to have the money in the bank. Yeah, but it's a different entity. I don't have it with me. It's in a different entity. It's true. But the resources that this entity has to keep your money safe are a multiplier of the resources that you can invest in your home to keep your money safe, even if you are very good on hiding things in your home. So I think it's a good illustration of what is keeping the data in your house or keeping the data in the cloud. And even if you invest a lot of money, even if you have a lot of money, deep pockets to invest, the speed of technological advance is so fast that it's really, really hard to keep you up to space. For any single company, I would say, is almost impossible. I was in our data center in Europe 2 weeks ago, and I tell you, I've already visited a lot of data centers, and I was impressed. It's impressive how you basically smash an investment of 450 million in one data center 2 years after, and you start to build a new one. It's amazing. Now you can make your own calculations. How many companies in Portugal? Imagine the biggest company in Portugal. Does it have the muscle, the financial muscle, to trash 450 million of investment after 2 years? No way. It would take 15 years probably to amortize this investment. This is what we are talking about. You need scale. You need scale because the amount of data that we hold, as you saw in the video, is so large that the usage level of our data centers is so high that we can afford to have this technological advance. And it's not only us, okay? So I'm not here with an arrogant attitude that Microsoft is the only company in the world that can do this. No, but there are very few. There are very few companies in the world, probably less than my hand, that have the muscle, the scale to do this. So you really, this is a game of scale. Now, to your question, what are we going to do about it? I think that we can do two things. One, we have to communicate better. We haven't communicated well enough to these customers. There is this distrust. I don't know where's my data. I don't trust you guys. The second thing is I think that we need to continue to work on building up the tools that build the credibility that the data is safe. That's why I put it there in the slide, the point around compliance. It's very important that we are compliant with the most strict rules that exist for every single region. And that means that we are following up all the rules, that we are being audited every year, that not only by the European Commission, but also by our own customers, we open up our data center so that our own customers can come there and audit. The third thing that we can do is, of course, having reference customers, having customers that move forward, that take the risk, that move their infrastructure into the cloud, and then that they can tell the others how their experience was. But honestly, I think that this is going to take time. For companies that don't have a legacy, it's very easy. And we see this with you guys every day. Every app that is now light up, most of them are developed in the cloud immediately. Every project of business intelligence is developed in the cloud immediately, supported in cloud infrastructure. And I think that this is going to be a transition between the new world and the legacy world. And it's going to take a little bit of time. But it's definitely one of the major blockers of why this transition is taking so long.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Couto. I would actually have two questions, if that's okay. The first one is, acknowledging that it enters a bit of your personal and intimate life, I would like to know, out of curiosity, with which grade you finished your course and how much you started to earn and were earning along your career, just to know what
you
an
can
engineer
expect
out of
okay.
can achieve here in Technic.
Okay, can you just stand up and say your name?
Yes. My name is Daniel Jordan.
Sorry?
Daniel Jordan.
Daniel. So Daniel is a very brave guy, eh? So you should
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. And by the way, my name is João, okay? So João or João or João, it depends on the country, okay?
João está bem?
João is perfect. I don't have an engineering on my ID card and last name. Just a small joke. When I went to London, on the first days, I wrote an email to the CEO, and I was writing the email. I said, "Dear Mr. Colau," and I wrote kind of a complicated email, and he replied to me, "My name is Vittorio." He didn't say if he was agreeing or disagreeing. He just replied, "My name is Vittorio." Period. Okay, clear. I think it's a cultural thing. Then when we moved from country to country, we see these changes. But anyway, coming back to your point. So what my final grade on Technic, it was 15. So I ended up with 15 as my final grade. I must say that it was a sweat, 15, it was not easy. But I decided to keep a good balance between my personal life and my academic life, let's call it like that. So I saw some colleagues of mine having 17, 18, but then their balance was a little bit more towards the academic, and I decided that it would be good to keep a good balance, to go out at nights, date, all these kind of things that you guys know very well. So that's why the 15 is a good balance. Then, what was my first salary in TLP? I would say it was probably 1,300 or something like that, or 1,500, max. So it didn't change much from today's world as an engineer. The entry level. I mean, it was not very, very different. I hope I'm not making any kind of mistake.
No, you're not.
Of course, in those times, 1,000 euros were worth much more than today, but the level didn't change much. Didn't change much. I think that what I can tell you also is, and I'm not sure if you have already learned that or not, but there is a very good concept that you learn in the university when you start to study social sciences, which is a concept of the pyramid of Maslow. And the pyramid of Maslow is, as a pyramid, you can see that, okay, pyramid. On the base of the pyramid, there are the basic needs. So you have to eat, and you have to dress, and all of these kind of things. And then you move up in the chain, and you become more and more sophisticated, and you become more addicted to these geeks and more costly things. What I can tell you is that when you move up in your life as well, the money, as you move into the Maslow pyramid, the money starts not to be the most important thing, okay, that you can think about in your career. I can tell you, for instance, and Beatrice knows this very well, when I decided to move from London to Portugal, it was a tough decision because life in London is a very nice life. So I was earning very well, earning a very good position, etc. And I decided to move back to Portugal because I was looking for other things. I was looking into a different path in my career. I was looking to come back to my country and do something about it, or to support the change that was going on. And I was also coming back to next to my family and next to this wonderful country. So I decided to balance a little bit more the things. Next question.
The next question has something to do with the previous one, namely, not my previous one, the other previous one, namely, building this infrastructure, which we call the cloud. How can the users be so sure that no one will use it for purposes of control or for spying or whatever, or that the government will not have any influence on the company like Microsoft in order to access this kind of data?
Okay, I think that there are three things that are important to know. The first one is Microsoft, and I believe many other countries as well, don't release data to any third party, even government or police forces, without a mandate, a judicial mandate. Okay, this is a very important point. We don't release data without a proper judicial mandate. That's point number one. Point number two, when you are in a data center, and I checked this personally, you have no clue where is your data. No clue whatsoever. You don't have a space. You cannot say, this server is from my company. It doesn't exist, because there isn't one server. It's a virtual machine. You can have thousands of servers in that machine. And your data can be spread across different data centers, even if it is in the same location. So actually, there is a complete segregation between the infrastructure itself and the control. It's kind of a control center of that infrastructure. Complete segregation. The guys that are in the control center have access to the data, but they have no idea where the data is physically located. And the guys that control the physical location have no idea where the data is actually stored. And the data can be stored there or in different locations. Data typically is encrypted, which means that it's not easy to access. Even if you break all these security rules, even if you do that, you would need to have the encryption keys. Now, then it becomes all about encryption. Can you break encryption keys? Well, you guys know this better than I. Probably. I had some colleagues that were able to, whilst I was doing my degree, that were able to crack every single code, and I'm sure that you probably do the same. What we try to do is to make it as hard as possible. As hard as possible. No one on earth can say that your data is 100% secure. No one. And if they say this, it's because they are lying. Okay? But the data is not 100% secure in your mobile. It's not 100% secure in your house. Because someone can break into your house and steal your documents. This notion of security is always a relative thing. What we try to do is to make it as hard as possible and as safe as possible. That's what we try to do. That's why we work with government agencies and with government officials to make sure that the regulations are very, very strict, that is a fully transparent policy in terms of making it transparent to the world. Everyone that wants to see all our standards can see the standards. I can tell you, if you sometime go into Ireland and decide to visit our data center, I almost can bet you that you will not be able to enter into our data center. Because the security measures, even I'm the GM of Portugal, and I was not able to enter into the data center unless I have a special authorization to do so. And I'm the GM of Portugal. Not even the GM of Ireland has access to the data center. So this, again, is putting in place measures, procedures that reinforce the security environment. But at the end of the day, we know that somewhere in time someone will crack in, and it's our job to make it, to minimize the damage and to solve it as quick as possible. That's our job. Thank you. Thank you, David. More questions?
Maybe I missed it, but how much space does the cloud have?
Space, in terms of space, physical space, or space storage?
Physical, is that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea. It's so big that I have no idea, honestly.
Hi. I was just wondering, at the beginning you said that at first you started to get more excited about the projects that Microsoft had, but at first you weren't so into it before you knew about all the plans and you did all the interviews. And well, we all saw the video with all the charity and stuff that Microsoft actually does. But I was wondering, how is a typical day at Microsoft? And not just, I'm not trying to steal your spotlight or anything, but I would like to know as a CEO in Microsoft and also as a PM like Katerina is.
And sorry, the question is, how is our?
How is a typical day at Microsoft?
Typical day?
Yeah.
I will hand it over happily to you.
Well, first of all, we can go in whatever hour we want. If you want to stay in home doing our job, we can, unless we have meetings, of course, that we have to attend. But typically, I work with a very dynamic team. We are all friends. We go to lunch together. We obviously have very interesting jobs. I'm responsible for the Microsoft Student Partners program. So actually, I'm leading a team of 40 people. So it's always very engaging. I get to meet a lot of new people. This month, March, actually, that's coming, I'm going to be traveling all around Portugal and visiting many universities. So we can give many workshops and sessions about our technologies. So we can engage students with our platforms. So it's actually very fun. It's never the same day, like we never have a typical day like you are asking. It's always different. It's always very dynamic. I've been working at Microsoft for 3 months only, so I love it. I cannot see myself working in any other company right now, so it's actually awesome.
Thank you, Katrina. We'll pay you later.
Thank you so much.
Obrigada, Katarina.
Just to compliment, it's a busy, busy, busy day, okay? And let me tell you a little bit of my experience also on the recruiting process and why did I change my mind. At the beginning, my mind about Microsoft was a sleeping giant, dull company, Windows and Office. Is there anything else? Well, maybe Skype. I heard that Skype was bought by Microsoft. Maybe. And when I started to learn a little bit more about Microsoft, it's a world. It's really really impressive, the range of things that we do. It goes from devices like Surface or like all our PCs that you have with the Windows and Office installed. You have the world of portals and internet sites with SharePoint. You have the world of databases with SQL. You have a middle layer with BizTalk that connects all these things. You have the mail with Outlook. You have an ERP, which is called Dynamics, that very few people know about it. You have a CRM system that is called the Dynamics CRM, that very few people know about it, but that competes with a market leader in other markets. We have business intelligence, which is called Power BI. We have cloud. We have mobile. We have Skype. We have MSN. We have so many things, really, so many things that is really, really challenging to see all these different things and putting them into a coherent story and into motion. That's why the day is so busy and so absorbing. I never ever had, during this 1 year that's already gone, one day that I could say that was a boring day at Microsoft. I never had it. And to be honest, when I start to have it, it's time to go. Okay? So it's natural. It's on my first year. So I don't know if it's going to come. But honestly, it's a very, very busy day. And I think that the shock for me, and the opportunity as well, is that I was on the enterprise world. I was in a big company. I should know more and better about Microsoft. I didn't. Which means that we have, A, not done a good job in communicating all this world, and B, that we have a great opportunity ahead of us, because if we are able to communicate it well, better, and engage our customers on these wonderful things that we do, then we get more success. That's the rule of the game. That was what excited me to come.
Let me add just one more thing. I'm a trainee at Microsoft, and I'm here sharing the stage with the general manager. So you can see how the environment is at Microsoft. We are all very, very friendly, and we all help each other in any way we can. So yeah.
And that's not bullshit, huh? So
it's not. I'm saying because it's true.
So Katarina knows, and you can challenge her. And by the way, I challenge you. Whenever any of you want to talk with me, you can do it directly or through Katarina, and I bet you I will talk with you. Okay, so it's an open culture. There is no hierarchies. I don't like hierarchies. I hate hierarchies. Okay, so it's an open door policy. You can talk freely, regardless of your rank in the company.
Yes, because everybody's heard of Google and Valkyrie and how they work, but never heard how Microsoft works within. It's interesting. Thank you.
Well, I challenge you. Katarina can organize a visit into our company, and you see how we work. It's an interesting experience. You go there, and you see how we work. We don't even use paper. Can you imagine? We write on the walls. It's true. We write on the wall.
I have a question. How is your position relative to another apps environment? Android, iOS, and OS X. I mean this because currently the market is very separate in this aspect. Because I have an app Windows Phone, and probably I would have to develop another app for Android if I want to reach that market. That goes against the cloud's idea because the cloud wants to be one for every environment. So how do you want to approach this problem of having a lot of apps, ecosystems for one cloud?
Okay, look, I think that there are different answers to this question. So the first thing that we need to do is work harder. So run faster. This is a game, and this is a very competitive game that we are in, and we know that we came late into the party. And of course, if we came late into the party, we need to run faster. That's the rule of the game. And we have came late into the party. I can tell you this because I was on the mobile side and I was saying, what the hell are these guys doing? These guys are not there. Now we are there and we need to run faster. That's why we are on the verge of acquiring Nokia exactly to run faster. That's why we have been investing so much in the app world, in the Windows app and Windows Phone apps, and trying to build an ecosystem of apps. To be clear, we will never be able to catch up the volume game. That's lost. There is no way, because the other guys are not seated waiting for us. The other guys continue to run, so it's impossible. The volume game is lost. Where can we win is on the quality game and on the differentiation game. That's where we can win. So we are working on to try to develop the best apps that can really differentiate the experience. How? Well, actually, two ways. One, trying to take the best of our legacy that we have on the enterprises and bring the best experience and data from the companies into the customers of those companies on the B2B2C or B2C apps. So that's point number one. Second, make sure that the apps that we develop work for the entire ecosystem. And that it's very easy to develop between Windows 8 and Windows Phone. You don't have to develop different things. So you can leverage the two ecosystems or the same ecosystem of Windows with very little tweaks. You can develop an app which is immediately available for Windows 8 and for Windows Phone. The third thing is a dream that we are working on, which is to develop a platform that any developer can develop the application, and then it has kind of an engine that codes the application into the different platforms. That's a dream that we are working on. It's not yet ready, but we are trying to make it possible exactly, because we see that there is not much rationale on putting developers and companies, by the way, developing apps for every single platform. Doesn't make much sense. But this is not yet ready, so it's kind of a future. More questions? Yep.
Can you please tell me how is Microsoft's approach to cloud? How is it unique? Like, why would I host my stuff on Microsoft's cloud and not, for example, use Google, Amazon? Why would I host my app on Azure and not use, for example, DigitalOcean or something like that? How is it unique?
Okay. So I could tell you, well, ours is great, it's very secure, it's best of breed, best technology, but that doesn't excite you, doesn't it? Yeah, I thought so. So the first thing is, why is it unique? The key differentiation point around our cloud is that it's an hybrid cloud, which means that you can actually, for you it's probably not very relevant, but for companies it's very, very relevant. They manage their infrastructure, which they currently have on-prem, exactly the same way as they manage it on the cloud. You have the same console. When you provision an application, you provision it the same way. If you need more computer power or more storage capacity, you ask for cloud resources exactly the same way as you ask for resources in your data center. That's very powerful, because all of a sudden, you don't need to have your technical teams specialized in your on-prem solution and on your own cloud solution. It becomes a whole. It becomes something that is integrated. You don't need to have special trainings for different people and so on and so forth. And it gives you the flexibility to grow your infrastructure, as you grow it to the cloud. Why? Because it's much cheaper, much faster, much cheaper, much more secure, etc. So that's the key differentiator. Now, coming back to your point is, why the hell should I do that? If I'm a developer, why the hell should I do on one or the other? Well, we try to make it as simple as possible, the usage, and to become very simple to use. Of course, there are others that are very simple to use as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a war and a competitive game again that is between us and the other players, that we need to do it better and cheaper. And that's what we are right now in this game, of doing better and cheaper. For instance, when you provision our services in our cloud, and this is not unique, okay? It's different from other players, but it's not unique. You only pay for what you use. And you pay for what you upload, not for what you download. And why do we do that? Because we have a scale. Whilst you are not using here, somewhere in China is using it. And therefore we have the scale. The resource is always being used. So we can afford on a pay-per-use model. If you have a small scale, you cannot afford. You have to make it profitable very, very quick. And as I told you, 2 years was the turnaround time of our data center. At maximum, I would say 4 or 5 years. If you make actually an investment, it will take you 10 years to become profitable today. So that's the game. That's why I was saying to you, it's a game that's going to end up with scale, which means that all the small providers are either going to be dead or going to be acquired. That's what's going to happen.
That's why actually many people hate Microsoft, because they're trying to create this monopoly. And, I mean, they always used to, but, well, before it was much more when, there were no, Linux wasn't as popular, but I don't hate Microsoft, but I know that many people do, and it's because of that monopoly thing, they're trying to get everything in. I think they had lots of lawsuits before, right?
True.
Windows thing and the Internet Explorer, like you can install it, but yeah, thanks.
It's true. Look, I think there is no point on trying to hide the elephant. It's true what it's saying. There is a little bit of a sentiment that Microsoft used to be a monopoly and wants to control the world and all these kind of things. Well, actually today, are we a monopoly? No. We are not. Tablets. Our share of tablets is less than 10%. Less than 10%. Mobile. Our share of mobile is less than 10%. Are we a monopoly? Well, not really. What's the share of our biggest competitor? 80%. Who is the monopoly? Search. We have a wonderful tool called Bing. What's the share of Bing? Are we a monopoly? This old notion of monopoly has changed. And by the way, I don't criticize the other competitors. I wish I was in their shoes. You see? It's up my job to make it better, to win share. And it's their job to do it better and win share. And that's why it's so exciting. It's a competitive day every day. More questions?
Hi. A while ago you talked about how a new data center had to start being built shortly after the other one was built. My question is Microsoft working on a solution to not having to depend on building new data centers indefinitely?
Look, I think I think that it's a difficult question for which I don't have an answer, to be honest. I think that on one side you have the technology evolving so fast that things are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and you could actually reuse the space, the physical spaces that you have, in order to deploy new technology there in much smaller spaces. On the other side, the size of the data is growing much faster than that. And therefore, the amount of data that we need to store is much bigger. It's growing at much faster pace than the technology advances that we are seeing in the server world. What I can tell you is, look, our new data center is going to be 1/4 of the size and 4 times more efficient and four times less cost than the first data center that we have built. We have now generation 4 in Ireland. Generation 5 is going to come live this year. We are already being generation 6, and we'll be announcing very, very soon the start of the build-up of generation 7 in the same premises. So you see, it's, as I said, it's kind of the competitive game. It's a living battle. You don't stop. And honestly, I think that the rate, the pace that the data is growing is much, much, much faster than the technology advances that we are seeing. And you can see that, for instance, with your own usage of tools like Facebook, like LinkedIn, like Skype, like WhatsApp, like it's growing every day, and all the data that you are consuming is becoming all connected.
Okay, and one other thing. In relation to all that data that's building up, is there some sort of solution for, well, there's a lot of trash data, which people upload once and then never use again. Is there some sort of filter that deals with those cases?
Look, of course you can compress that data and you can make it into a second tier. To give you an example, this is already done today on the TV operators. You have in your TV, you probably, I don't know which operator you use, but for sure, if you have pay TV, you can use in your TV the ability to go back into the programming guide. And of course, the entire programming guide is available 1 week behind, right? But not all of the programs or not all of the content are actually interesting. So what the TV does, what the TV operator does, is clustering all these programs and making the ones that are being more requested and putting it into a storage capacity that's much faster to stream. And all the others are stored on the back. Some of them in our cloud. Okay? Exactly because of that. Because, yes, there might be a customer that wants that, but the majority of the customers want this program, and this program is stored locally much, much closer to the end customer, so that you don't dump in the networks, you don't destroy your data centers. This is just an example how you can treat data.
Okay, thank you, João.
Hi. This is not really my question, but I would like to know, just a yes or no question, if you at home use Bing.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Actually, I do. And honestly, I had this battle in our company, and even at home, to be honest. It was hard. It was hard. Changing the phone of my wife was really, really hard. I can tell you. It cost me a lot of money. But anyway, it's hard because there is this perception that Bing is less powerful than our competitor. Actually, today, it's not that different. In Portugal already, it's not that different. And in the other countries, in countries where the Bing has the full version, here in Portugal we don't have yet the full version, actually it's much better. The way I perceived it, at least.
So my real question was, you say that you don't have the monopoly. Do you think that Windows right now is strong enough that you can stop almost obligating people to buy the license when they buy a computer?
Look, I think that, let me put it in another way. A, you can buy any kind of computer that you want. Okay, you can buy Macs, you can buy Chromebooks, and you can buy normal PCs. Why do we put the Windows in the PCs? Because by that we are able to load the Windows license at a much, much cheaper price.
Yeah, but
you would have to pay twice the price if the computer was sold naked.
That's still 100 euros more than I would like to pay because I'm not going to use it.
True, but fortunately for us, the majority of customers want to use it. Fortunately.
But that's like a redundant because they
Sorry?
That's kind of redundant because they like to use it because you almost obligate them to use it.
So what you're saying is that you would like to
have a computer without Windows.
Okay, fine. So it's like you would like to buy the BMW but without the BMW brand. You like the engine, you like the car, you like the seats, you like the drive in it, but not the BMW brand.
I can just build my car. I cannot. In Portugal, I challenge you to get me
No,
to
but
somewhere.
what you want is a white label brand.
Yeah.
And you can. Look, you are able to do it. You can go to any store. Actually, I lost the mic. I don't know why.
No problem.
Maybe they want to shut me up. But you can do that. You can go to any store and you go, look, I want this processor, this memory, this motherboard, this graphic board, and I don't want any operating system. You can do that.
Where?
Nobody's stopping you. Sorry? Even with a laptop, it's possible.
Yeah, but like...
Even it is. Well, you can buy, look, you can buy any tablet. If you don't like our operating system, you can buy a tablet with other operating systems. You can buy a Mac, for instance. You can buy a Chromebook. There is an offer in the market. We are not obliging people to buy our operating system.
If I can just give you an example, I just read the other day that someone, I don't know who, just went to Dell's customer support and asked if they would sell them a computer, the same computer that was on sale with the license, if they could sell it without the license. Yeah, they said, yeah, sure, but you have to ask us, why don't just give that, like people are lazy, they see the computer on sale and they buy it. Why don't just give the opportunity of the person not to buying it? Because I go to any physical store, here in Portugal, I challenge you to get me one that doesn't, to buy a computer, and they just say, oh no, if you want that, just go online. I don't know any place that does that, because there isn't any.
Look, honestly, I don't know what your friends, I have a lot of friends that do assembling of PCs, so I can, if I want, I can buy a computer without any operating system. Point number one. Point number two, I think that your question actually is not for us, it's for the OEMs. Because they are the ones that put the PCs on sale, not us.
But you are the ones who pay.
No, we don't pay.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to put something on sale?
No, we don't pay. They pay us. They pay us to have the license of Windows there. Why? Because there is a demand for it. Why? Because the computer gets a cheaper license if it is shipped with Windows. If it is shipped with Windows, the license becomes cheaper than bought outside.
But that's not incompatible with what I'm saying. I'm just saying that give the opportunity not to buy it with a license. Just be cheaper, but be cheaper to the ones who want to buy it.
Fine,
it's more expensive to me. It's not cheaper, I can guarantee you.
I'm almost tempted to say, I will solve your problem independently. Look, I understand your problem. I understand your problem. I respect your opinion, which is you want to have a naked computer. I respect your opinion, okay? You have to respect also our opinion and the opinion of the majority of the customers that don't want that. Now, what I can tell you, and I'll be glad to help you if you want, I can try to get a computer without an operating system for you.
Okay,
That's the best that I can do.
I can do that too, but not with the same simplicity that I would buy it with Windows. Okay, just it's all that. I know we are not going to get anywhere from here.
If you are asking me, will you, João, Microsoft will push for naked computers? Of course not.
Okay, I'm not saying.
If that's the answer that you want, of course not. If you would be in my shoes, you would not do that.
I would not be in your shoes.
Never say no. Lesson number 1, never say no. You never know. More questions?
I'm sorry, we don't have time for more questions.
Okay. So, thank you very much.